Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. This is going to be, let me warn you, a longer video. I'm doing the final flip through of Daisy's baby book. Now, for those of you who watch regularly, you'll know that Daisy is the firstborn child of my niece, Haley. So I don't know when I'm going to schedule this. I imagine there will be a baby shower at some point. But I'm thinking that it might be nice for Haley and my sister and eventually Daisy to be able to watch this video and see what the thought process, what the rationale, why some of this stuff ended up in the book and what my hope is for that new family. So perhaps you want to change the speed of the playback or settle down with, a snack and a beverage and bring pajamas and, the whole thing, whatever. The last video, which was done immediately prior to this one, showed how I was doing God, I should have washed my hands, how I was doing the journal topper. And so I did end up using this tie that I thought I would. It's, I think it's a yard long, and that is plenty even for a thick book like this. So in a previous video, I showed the process for making this beaded tassel. So I will try to remember to link that. I did end up, I didn't like those color combinations of those tiny little beads. So I ended up finding a D for Daisy and just threading a couple of different fibers through the little hole, gluing it down. This tie, of course, holds this book closed, as well as adding another one of the colors that was in the original color scheme that I was given to work with. And again, just as a reminder, when I first got the request, the idea to do this as a shower gift, all we knew was that purple, blue, and green would be a good color combination. And then, of course, after her birth, we found that Daisy was, in fact, a girl. So, I want to show you something I've never done before, and I think it is a splendid idea. So you can see that I have two signatures because we've got 2 rows of thread here. I had a number of these little, I would say that's a snail, brads. Now, I think that it could be, especially for a busy young family, it could be a pain in the butt to try to hang on to a tie. Like that might be something that many people would love to putz around with. But honestly, for a young mother and maybe a baby yanking at ribbons, I thought it would be a nuisance. So what I did was I used my pokey tool, made a hole at the center here between the 2 signatures. When we open the book, we'll see the prongs of the brad. And and I also used a bit of art glitter glue to keep this guy from turning because, I don't know. Now, it could also be a ladybug, I suppose, but just the way the head is, anyway, it doesn't matter. When Haley was a kid, she loved insects and was a bit of a tomboy, so this should be right up the alley. So, of course, now when I untie this bit of ribbon is not going anywhere. So, I don't know if I invented something right there, but I think it is a keeper of an idea. Okay, wallpaper cover. I use these, now I hope that is visible, DAISY, Daisy. So they're those sort of gel, well, I don't know what I don't know what they are. Now, you may remember that when I glued, this is a a really worn old bed sheet, I would say, or pillowcase. And because I used spray glue for the first time, and because the cover was in fact wallpaper and not a second piece of fabric, there was some, and because the fabric was so thin, there was some staining and bleed through. So I used, oh, I see I need to do a little, well, let's just rip that off. I used some vintagey, this is that fabric-y type napkin, and I just used it to cover those areas. This is just a tag, and of course it's got a daisy on it. This is my usual message about this journal, and I just loved this this page out of a kid's book. It's got some creatures, and I know that these guys are going to raise her knowing, you know, lakes and forests and animals and birds and so on. So it's almost like a search for type thing. This is just a commercial tag, and I've clipped it on. Here I used a number of sentiments. Some of them are vellum, some of them are stickers, and I just, you know, sort of used as many as I could get onto the page. And honestly, sometimes that's the only way to use some of these supplies up. I think I would have used either art glitter glue or a glue stick to hold that all down. Haley, Jason, Daisy, and the two dogs, I've forgotten their names. And I had this cute little bone button, so I just put a piece of thread through it, glued it down. And of course, these cute little ball-headed babies that keep appearing throughout the book kind of draw the attention to this focal point. In the last, oh, that's fraying. In the last video, I drew your attention to this cute little owl ribbon. So I just glued that down there because this page was very white, and you'll see it appear elsewhere. I've talked about this in the past. Again, they very much enjoy the outdoors, and I'm sure go canoeing. So this is a pocket, and there is this cute little girly jean type thing that I backed. It was a sticker, and there's another, you know, more canoeing going on, or boating. Now, I'm obviously hoping that at some point I get to sort of explain to Haley, you know, what she could or should be doing. Well, not should, what she could be doing with the book. You know, that all these places to write things down are a place to record things about the baby, about the family, and that there are, you know, hidden little places, and you don't have to write a novella or a journal entry every day. You just need to jot down, there's a sonogram or ultrasound or whatever they call those things. That just matched, so I included it. We like to include fathers, Daddy's Little Angel. And this is one of two of these old-fashioned Carol Rebus type stories. The Cat and the Fiddle, the Cow, Moon, Dog. Just because, you know, I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking that even today's parents still will be reading nursery rhymes and teaching their kids nursery rhymes. So won't it be nice to have a couple of vintage versions in there? This is just, again, this was really cute paper, but it was portrait style. And so that was the only way I could really include it. This is off some vintage gift wrap. And it's a daisy. Okay, here I use some lace with this mauve edge to it on this side pocket. this is also part of that same thing. And because these were stickers, I had to back them all. So there's that. This was something I had done, well, years ago. Rediscovered it when I was sorting my ephemera. And this is fabric that obviously had butterflies on it. And it's just a little bit of decoration there. I don't know if you saw this page before or not, but I added this purple girly butterfly brad. I'm sure that's Jessie Wilcox Smith illustrations. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is, of course, from the, oh my goodness, Beatrix Potter, you know, all those books. Little tab at the top. I used this marble envelope that I had made here. I just glued it down, stuck a couple of little daisy type stamps in there. Added this. Now I did think about, you know, separating this to make it thinner, but then I would have had the issue of covering the back. So I just left it. Added that sort of glittery stone there. And, you know, it helps hold that closed and is cute. I think you've probably seen this before. This was a bib that I fussy cut, backed, and covered whatever was underneath there. I think it was a B with a D. So, and here's some baby stroller ribbon along the side. This is plain, and you know, I have been, with this journal, and maybe with every project, I've been suffering from when am I done-itis. Because when I look through it with you, when I flip through it, when I page through it myself, I keep thinking, well, this is blank. I could add. Now, this has become a very thick book, and I think we always walk a fine line between when are we done, how much decorating do we do, how much do we leave it naked for the recipient to continue to decorate or add to. And of course, if the person who receives the book is a crafty journal making soul, then they will know exactly what to do. If they are not, if they're perhaps just a busy young mother who would rather, you know, hike and walk the dogs than glue paper to paper, this may be as decorated as it gets. So I had to fight with myself and finally make a declaration and say, okay, stop already. Stop. So you will see that there are things that never made the, there's not a single postage stamp in here. There's only one bit of stenciling that I did. One thing of stenciling that I did, I think. So I guess my point in bringing this, there it is. My point in bringing this to, is saying this, and bringing this up, is that we cannot possibly add every single supply, technique, boy, these hands are looking great here. Every single supply, technique, thing at our disposal to every project. There are no wax seals in here. I could have, probably should have attached something to this, but I didn't. So Haley, if you ever watch this, you could glue something to this and basically add an extra page to it. You know, maybe it's her first coloring book page or the first drawing she ever does. And maybe I should actually add a post-it note there or watch this video. Again, her grandfather is very much a fisherman, so I imagine he'll be taking Daisy out fishing when she's old enough. So I included that. I added that ribbon, the owl ribbon there. But this, there's nothing here. So again, it's up to somebody else to continue filling this. These are pretty plain pages as well. Here I added the owls again because that was pretty plain. Oh, I guess I stenciled there as well. And this is just a collection of daisies. Obviously with a name like Daisy, that will be either her favorite flower or her most hated flower, but she will definitely need to learn how to identify daisies. This is just a like a flashcard type thing out of a card game. That's just cute. That's just outright cute. This is a D. Now this I think was a stencil as well, so I had, not a stencil, a sticker, so I had to back that. I added all of those things on there when you weren't looking. This is just a coloring book card. Happy Mother's Day. Another one of the little rhymes that I backed with a page out of a baby book. And another fish because she will be fishing, I'm sure of it. Just some little girly images and some sentiments. Some of these came off pattern. These two probably came off patterns. The others came out of a book with cute illustrations. These are wallpaper die cuts that I did and just sort of created a border around two sides on that page. Cute little image out of a vintage school reader. And I cut this one down actually to make it fit a little better. And this is another one of those flashcard type things. Because, oh, and here's where the brad is. Now, I wonder, maybe that's supposed to be a ladybug. I don't know, I would say a ladybug because of the spots. Now, I'm not sure. Maybe I should put something over this just to, one of these is a little bit too big. Maybe I could cut the antenna. I'll do this after this flip through, but I will probably have to cut those antenna off, but at least that will cover up that most of that brad. Or maybe I just cut that off for nothing. Okay, second signature. Some vintage, these came out of a pattern book for knitting. And it just covered up this scrapbooking paper a bit. I had the opportunity to use Remember. Now this dress, this was one of the early, okay, this was an idea that Angela had, and this was one of my early prototypes. Eventually I made the dresses a little smaller, a little more petite. Just a vintage ad and another one of the Beatrix Potter things. This is some sort of sticky, well, like a sticker from something. This was a video, part of a video that I had done using black and white illustrations. And I just zhuzhed it up a bit with a bit of tulle, a brad, a little piece of green velvet. And I absolutely love this book that I took apart. It was a book it was a music book of some sort. And the pages were this lovely green and that light beige color. And I must have been wanting to get rid of a bunch of these kinds of things, and I just dotted them all over. And it turns out that it's perfect in this particular book because of the purple, green, and blue color scheme. This was a this would have been a 12 by 12 thin piece of scrapbooking paper that I had sewed into pockets, top loading. This was another piece. I think this was gift wrap, if I'm not mistaken. It's sort of embossed. I had this Fussy Cut Girl, again, from a 50s reader. Used this ribbon to make a, whatchamacallit? You know, a little thing at the top. I might have to go over these. I see I have some glue specks here that maybe I'll get them all off with my, oh, let's just do it. If I don't do it right this second, I might forget. So forgive me for that. I'm just using this glue picker-upper. Now, I have no idea what sort of readers Haley or Jason would have used or would have had when they were learning to read in grade 1 or wherever, kindergarten. So, you know, these fussy cuts from the readers from the 50s and 60s might look hopelessly ancient, or they might look slightly familiar. I don't know that. This page is blank. This is blank. I wanted to include an envelope, so I glued it down. Well, I guess actually this is the second envelope. I absolutely love this. I didn't put this away because I wanted to show you. This is a Martha Stewart, and of course, doesn't that just say family to you? So I cut out, I punched out in purple, and this was part of this same, below here would have been more purple. So I cut that out, and I think they are the cutest little people ever. And then I just glued a variety of ribbons, lace down onto the envelope, and then added that as a final piece. Those show on this side, which is kind of a bonus. There's just some, stuff to write on here. Again, that's more of that same old-fashioned, almost like a cloth napkin, but not quite. Fussy cut daisies. I just tore some washi tape in half and pretended to glue it down like in a specimen book. Tabs, scrapbooking paper, fabric flip with a sentiment. A child reminds us that playtime is an essential part of our daily routine. So just a variety of pinks and a fabric tab that I made with a floral piece of fabric and the colors legend that goes along the side there. This is more of that, those little bald-headed kids. I used a couple of the onesie die cuts to make a tab on there. Put this girl on here to cover up something I didn't want showing. And she looks kind of wistful, but every kid has that part of their life as well. Another fussy, oh no, this is a sticker. I have a number of those little girls, and I finally remembered I had them and chose to use that one there. This was a digital that I've had for years, fussy cut and backed it onto something more substantial. I think I backed it on, or maybe I printed it in cardstock. Used a bit of tulle underneath, and it's just, again, very old looking and cute, too cute for words. This came out of a Walter Foster How to Draw Faces book. So I included that there against this. This was also from Angela. It was, I think that's Kool-Aid dyed paper. Added a couple more little things there, just some embroidery thread through that hole at the top. And here, I used another sticker with these two girls. This is more of the wallpaper. I used this gift wrap decoration at the top of the pocket, some rub on there. I love this. It's a vintage thing that I printed 4 to a page. Cornflower aster. So that looks beautiful there. And you can see that I cut it the way the original was crumpled and ripped. And that's exactly how I did it here. Now, I suppose that could become a problem going in and out, but I'm not going to worry about it at this point. A little flashcard that says baby with a cute little baby. I think you've seen this in a previous video. It was a snippet roll that I made using these fussy cut babies from wallpaper. These are just fake buttons that I glued on along with some sentiment stickers. This is the a game sheet for a baby shower. So that's in there. Here is more of that same paper. Here's just a daisy, and I added. So there's the picture. This is vintage. And there is the description of the flower, daisy flower. And I added a bit of lace so people would know there's something in there to pull out. Added a charm here and just a couple of very flat little, actually came off this page. Could these colors be any more perfect for this project? So I just folded them back on themselves and captured the end off the, and of course it didn't fit perfectly, so of course I had to try to make it look like it matched. This is out of a vintage book. I just glued it down, used the lace tab again to help clue people in that there's something to pull out there. I had glued down this sentiment. Oh no, this was a vellum. This was a vellum thing. And you know how sometimes vellum doesn't glue down very well? When I was flipping through earlier, I noticed that it had a crease in it. Now, it could also be that something inside the pocket made that happen. So I just added a bit of washi with some glue on it, glue stick on it, to help cover that part up. Another tab. In a recent haul, I showed you that book. I think it was called Sleeping Beauties or something. So I fussy cut a number of the babies out, and I chose to use this one. Now, of course, I had to back it to make it more like a tuck spot. Just added a bit of ruffled ribbon there. And this was something that my sister had shared with me through a text. And no matter how I tried to reproduce it so I wouldn't have to type it all out, it didn't work, so I had to type it all out. It's called The Child's 10 Commandments for Parents. So I printed this on a number of different colored papers because I think from now on I'll probably want to include this in most of the baby books I do. So now I have it done and printed in a variety, like blue, pink, green, and maybe yellow. So how long have we been here? Do I have time to? Oh, this isn't so bad. Maybe I'll read it to you. Or just the highlights. My hands are small, don't expect perfection. And then it goes on. My eyes have not seen the world as yours have. Please let me explore safely and don't restrict me unnecessarily. That would be like, don't become a helicopter parent. Housework will always be there. I'm only little for a short time. My feelings are tender. Please be sensitive to my needs. And don't nag me all day long. You wouldn't want to be nagged for your inquisitiveness. And again, I'm just abbreviating here. I'm a special gift from God. Please treasure me as God intended you to. I'll read the whole one. holding me accountable for my actions. Can you imagine if we raised kids that way? Giving me guidelines to love by. Oh my God. That's supposed to be live, I bet. Nothing like printing 8 copies with a typo in it. I might just purposely, I'm not going to redo this, honestly. I'm going to stroke that out and change that to a live. And disciplining me in a loving manner. I need your encouragement, but not your praise to grow. Please give me the freedom to make decisions concerning myself. Permit me to fail. Please don't do things over for me. Somehow that makes me feel that my efforts don't quite measure up to your expectations. Please don't be afraid to leave for a weekend together. Kids need vacations from parents, just as parents need vacations from kids. And number 10, please take me to church regularly and thus show me the good example I so need. And then being a parent means loving your children more than you ever loved yourself. I will treasure my child as a gift from God on loan to me. Behold, children are a gift of the Lord. So that's there. Oh, let me do this. Although surely this will draw attention to the typo more than I would have just left it. Giving me guidelines to live by. Okay, the other half of that paper, I just added, and she's almost camouflaged there, a really pretty bird sticker. This is out of a book, and I did this little snippet. I love the little purple bird. I showed you that in a haul video. Another one of those Jessie Wilcox Smith illustrations. This is the cover off a sewing pattern with all the different options and pieces that are there. Again, left this very plain. This is also out of a baby book. This is another one of those Wilcox Smith illustrations. Oh, and then I came across this washi tape. And now where am I going to use this if not in a little kid book? So it's just basically clouds and stars and so on. And it works in this color scheme. This was that piece, I fussy cut this piece of fabric out of a sheer curtain and glued it down. And then I used this, I attached this dangle. So it's a covered puzzle piece, a fake button or a paper button, and a real button on a bulb pin attached to this same fabric flip that you saw elsewhere in the book. I just used this really cute, this was a fussy cut from gift wrap. And I just thought it was so darn cute with that soother and that little, the sleeper and all of that. So I glued it onto that page because, again, unless you're using a black Sharpie or something, not the easiest thing to write on. This was part of that wall border, not wallpaper as such, but more like a sticker that is removable. So I had to back it onto something so that, obviously, because I didn't want to stick it down. And there's just a paper clip holding it there. I love these little booties. So I attached them to a piece of, I started with a piece of cardstock, used some pink gingham, some of that lace that you've seen elsewhere, another scrap of a different lace, glued it all down, made an upper tuck. There is a dog card. So you can see how the repeating elements, like I think this is the 3rd or 4th card. So again, it all kind of hangs together. This is a little pocket. I don't know that I put anything in there, but I did add this bit of washi, this bit of washi. This is another pocket, doesn't have anything in it. This is just the same little bird. Doubled him up to make it a tab. And this is just plain paper to write on. Oh, cute little eyelet in the shape of a baby bottle. And I ran this very, it feels like chenille type fiber through that hole. Did some fussy cut pattern. Again, little vintage. Nobody dresses their girls like that anymore with these pinafore type things. So just ran that along there as a border. Another one of those little stickers. More of that same napkin. I love, oh, I guess I made this a pocket as well. This was a velveteen rabbit cover or page, book page, covered with a napkin. And this was an attached pocket with these florals and some die, a border cut there. Just a little piece of out of a book that could become a journaling space. Here I added this love. Now it's rather thick because it's on corrugated cardboard, but I just thought up here it's probably not as critical to the bulkiness of the project as if it was down here where so many other elements are. I think I've talked about this before. This was just 3 strips of coordinating paper that I ran a strip underneath and a strip underneath and a strip underneath to hold these things together and make it easier to slip things in and out without them catching on all 3 things. Just a cute pair of booties out of a knitting book. Made a tab using, again, 2 of the same little punch outs. Added that little doily medallion type thing there. These vintage black and white images. I just added this a while ago. It is a tag sticker that's XO, like hugs and kisses. Oh, there are more school pictures there that didn't get used. Them today as parents. I'm returning those. Family tree and another big journaling spot. Another vintage daisy picture, and I covered up the back so it could be written on. And this is just another vintage thing. It's not what you have that counts, but what you do with what you have. And of course, who hasn't made their kid a sled type thing out of a banana box, a laundry hamper, or something similar? Those, in fact, were the good old days. Okay, that concludes that. And I hope that, number one, that you have enjoyed seeing how this turned out and understand that now I feel free, free as a bird, to carry on with the next 3 baby books I have to do. Again, those are, there will be 2 female books and 1 to be determined book. So far, I know that the other babies are Paige and Scarlet. I have a couple of, and I mean really a couple of hints about what's what with those babies. And so that's where my next focus will be, along with the journal that I'm swapping with Carol in July. So if you don't see much of me, you know that I am working my butt off. I will also say, and I haven't done it yet, but I have this sort of heavyweight, this is 100% cotton. Now I've removed, I've taken the hem apart, and I hopefully, unless I run out of time, it's rather big and it is heavy, but I was thinking if I played my cards right, I could make 4 very plain bags out of this, and I would have a bag for each of the 4 baby books, including Daisy's. So that's another thing that I have to do one of these days. So I think regardless of the color scheme, this fabric will work, and it's heavy enough that I don't have to worry about, I might have to pick threads for the rest of my life, but I won't have to worry about, is it robust enough to hold up to some abuse, perhaps. So, again, I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much for hanging in with me every step of the way, for being happy about Daisy's arrival on the planet, and your good wishes for, obviously a happy, healthy life for her and her new little family. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.